Jungkook setting a new record in the military. Hello K-pop fans. In the quiet stillness of early winter, as snow begins to blanket the landscape of South Korea, a new chapter is being written. Not in the studios of Seoul, not on the blazing stages of international concerts, but in a place far removed from spotlights and applause, the military base. And within that cold, disciplined, and solemn environment, stands a young man who has already achieved what most could only dream of. Jungkook. Global pop icon. Main vocalist of the world's biggest boy band, BTS. A symbol of youth, passion, talent, and perseverance. But now, he is simply Private Jung. And within the rigid system of the South Korean military, he's not given special treatment. He doesn't ask for privilege. He starts from zero. And from that very zero, a miracle is born. Leaving the stage behind, the beginning of a new journey. December 2023 wasn't just another winter for ARMYs. It was the month when Jungkook said goodbye to the stage, temporarily. With tears in his eyes and a silent bow, he walked into enlistment, into duty. For most idols, military service is a pause, a necessary hiatus. But for Jungkook, it wasn't just about fulfilling a national obligation. It was about transformation. It was about finding something deeper within himself. He once said in an interview, "I want to be someone who can face anything, even things that scare me." So, rather than choosing an easier role in the military, Jungkook opted for the elite, joining the Special Forces Training Unit. A place where only the toughest survive. Where mental and physical limits are pushed every day. Where status, fame, and achievements outside mean nothing. The agony of adaptation, the first weeks. The training began with fierce cold, relentless drills, and brutal physical challenges. Every morning began before the sun rose. Push-ups on frozen ground. Marches through snow-covered hills. Gunfire drills in sub-zero temperatures. Most new recruits struggled. Some were injured. Some mentally broke down. But Jungkook? He kept going. He didn't whine. He didn't break. He didn't seek special rest. In fact, he trained longer than expected. He volunteered for extra drills. And when one of his comrades twisted his ankle during a snowy night march, Jungkook carried the man on his back for nearly 2 kilometers. That night, one of the instructors wrote a note in his journal, "The singer boy has the heart of a warrior." Setting the record, a moment that changed history. Midway through training, each unit undergoes what's known as Hell Week. A full 7 days of survival-based missions, emergency simulations, extreme weather endurance, and mental stress tests. It's during this period that something extraordinary happened. Jungkook didn't just survive Hell Week. He dominated it. During a 10-kilometer obstacle run, where recruits must crawl, climb, and sprint through mud, tunnels, and icy rivers, Jungkook finished first, breaking the previous record by over 6 minutes. In weapons assembly tests, he completed the task blindfolded faster than anyone in his platoon. In hostage rescue simulations, he demonstrated perfect timing, decision-making, and precision. One senior officer commented, "If I didn't know better, I'd think he was trained for this his whole life." Word began to spread, first quietly, then more openly. There was a soldier in the unit who wasn't just famous in the outside world, but who was becoming a legend within the military as well. And so it was recorded officially. Jungkook, of Special Unit 15, set a new training record, with the highest cumulative score ever achieved by a recruit in the past 15 years. The silent impact, what he meant to others. While fans waited outside in the cold, hoping for a glimpse. Inside the barracks, a different kind of fandom was forming. "He's humble," said a fellow recruit. "He never brags. He listens. He's always the first to help clean. And when morale is low, he sings, softly, just enough to calm our nerves." One night, after a grueling 18-hour exercise, when everyone was too exhausted to even eat, Jungkook stood up and whispered a few lyrics from a magic shop. The room fell silent. Tears flowed. He wasn't Jungkook the pop star anymore. He was Jungkook the comforter. Jungkook the brother. Jungkook the light in the dark. The world responds, ARMY's pride unleashed. When news of his record and character finally leaked, not from media, but from grateful comrades and quiet observers, the world reacted instantly. Hashtags like #GoldenSoldierJK and #Jungkook Military Legend trended globally. ARMYs began organizing charity drives in his honor. Fan accounts created military-themed fan art of Jungkook, imagining him as a noble knight, a hero, a protector of peace. Even former military personnel commented on social media, "I've seen celebrities come and go in the military. But this is something else." ARMY was no longer just proud of Jungkook the artist. They were proud of Jungkook the man. Inner thoughts, the man behind the discipline. According to one source close to the training center, Jungkook had a private notebook where he wrote reflections at night. One passage read here, "No one knows me. No one calls my name with love or applause. But I think this is where I found the truest version of myself. I'm not afraid of being ordinary. I'm afraid of forgetting who I am when no one's looking." That vulnerability, that honesty, it's what made Jungkook more than a star. It's what made him human. And in that humanity, he became something greater than he ever was on stage. Recognition and the unexpected title. 3 months had passed since Jungkook first stepped into the world of discipline, silence, and sacrifice, a world vastly different from the dazzling stages and roaring crowds he once called home. In that time, he had gone from being the youngest superstar of the biggest band on the planet to just another soldier, waking up before dawn, training in the harsh cold, and learning to follow orders without question. But beneath the uniform and the dust of daily drills, something remarkable was happening. During a special ceremony held at the training grounds, an event attended only by commanders, officers, and fellow soldiers, Jungkook stood in perfect formation, hands at his sides, face calm, gaze steady. And then his name was called. A murmur of surprise swept through the rows of trainees. He stepped forward. In that moment, he wasn't the idol known to millions. He wasn't the voice behind chart-topping hits or the face of global campaigns. He was Private John Jungkook, a soldier who had endured, who had excelled, and who had earned the respect of his superiors not because of who he was before, but because of who he became. He was awarded the titled Top Trainee of the Quarter, an honor few receive, and even fewer outside the military ever hear about. Unofficial whispers among the instructors suggested his training performance might even be used as a case study for future batches, a testament to his discipline, his humility, and his quiet strength. For a man who had once stood before tens of thousands, singing of love, fear, and fleeting youth. Now he stood silently, accepting an award that would never trend online, never make headlines, and never be photographed, but one that meant everything to him. Because it wasn't given to a celebrity. It was earned by a soldier. A different kind of spotlight shone on him that day. One that came not from flashing cameras or stage pyrotechnics, but from the unspoken admiration of those who saw him as an equal, and as a leader. A spotlight of respect, of honor, of quiet greatness. The legacy continues. Jungkook's military journey is still unfolding, still being written, not with ink or music, but with early mornings, silent nights, aching limbs, and silent resolve. And yet, even behind guarded gates and far from the world he once ruled, his story continues to echo. It reaches fans who wonder how he's doing. It inspires those who struggle with change. And it reminds us all that even at the peak of success, we are never finished growing. Because true greatness doesn't end with applause. It begins again in discomfort, in unfamiliar ground, in choosing the harder path when you don't have to. His journey tells us that no matter how high you've flown, there's always another sky waiting. That no matter how much you've achieved, there's always more to discover about yourself. That the real victories are often quiet, unseen, and deeply personal. Thank you.